Tariffs are taxes placed on imported goods, and they have long been a powerful tool in the hands of governments around the world. By making foreign products more expensive, tariffs can influence what people buy, often encouraging consumers and businesses to choose locally made alternatives instead. Governments use tariffs not only to generate revenue, but also to control the flow of goods across borders and protect domestic industries from foreign competition. This can help local businesses grow and preserve jobs, but it can also lead to higher prices for consumers and strained relations with trading partners. In recent years, tariffs have become a central issue in global trade policy, affecting the way countries interact and do business with each other. The rise of globalization has made international trade more interconnected than ever, so changes in tariff policy can have ripple effects across the world. During his presidency, Donald Trump made headlines by imposing sweeping tariffs, with a particular focus on Chinese imports. His administration argued that these measures were necessary to protect American jobs, revive struggling industries, and address what they saw as unfair trade practices by other countries. These tariffs, however, did not just affect China. They triggered a wave of global trade tensions, as other countries responded with their own tariffs and retaliatory measures. The result was a series of trade disputes that made headlines around the world and raised concerns about the future of international cooperation. The Trump administration insisted that tariffs would help fix long-standing trade imbalances and encourage companies to bring manufacturing back to the United States. But critics, including many economists and business leaders, warned that these policies could backfire, harming American consumers and businesses, and even violating international trade laws. Some industries, such as steel and aluminum, did experience short-term gains as a result of the tariffs, with increased production and job growth in certain areas. But for many other sectors, the story was quite different. Companies that relied on imported materials faced higher costs, and complex global supply chains were disrupted, leading to uncertainty and delays. Ultimately, it was everyday consumers who felt the impact most directly, as prices on a wide range of goods, from electronics to groceries, began to rise, straining household budgets and changing shopping habits. As legal challenges to the tariffs mounted, new questions emerged about the limits of presidential power. Many wondered whether the president had the authority to bypass Congress and unilaterally reshape U.S. trade policy, setting the stage for a heated debate that continues to this day. The controversy over Trump's tariffs led to a landmark Supreme Court decision that redefined the balance of power in U.S. trade policy. The court ruled that Trump's tariffs were illegal, stating the president had exceeded his authority under existing trade laws. This decision reinforced that Congress, not the president, holds the constitutional power to regulate foreign commerce. The ruling limits the executive branch's ability to impose tariffs without clear congressional approval. The court rejected arguments that broad emergency powers justified the tariffs, emphasizing the need for explicit legislative backing. This precedent ensures that major economic decisions require thorough debate and clear intent from Congress. The Supreme Court's ruling marks a shift toward greater congressional oversight in trade matters. It highlights the checks and balances designed to prevent any single branch from dominating trade policy. The Constitution gives Congress the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations, including setting tariffs. While Congress has sometimes delegated limited trade authority to the president, these powers have clear boundaries. The president's role is to implement and negotiate trade policies, but always within the framework set by Congress. The ruling reaffirms that significant trade decisions need legislative support, not unilateral executive action. The non-delegation doctrine ensures Congress can't hand over its core responsibilities without clear guidelines. This principle is crucial for maintaining the separation of powers in U.S. government. The Supreme Court's decision sends a powerful message about the importance of checks and balances in shaping U.S. trade policy. It underscores the need for genuine collaboration between Congress and the President, especially when it comes to decisions that can reshape the economic landscape for millions of Americans. Moving forward, future presidents will face heightened scrutiny over their trade actions. They'll be required to work more transparently and closely with Congress, ensuring that any major trade decisions are in line with legislative intent and not just executive priorities. This could lead to more debate and negotiation before new tariffs or trade measures are enacted. The immediate overturning of Trump's tariffs is already sending shockwaves through the business community and the broader economy. Markets are reacting quickly, with investors, economists, and business leaders all trying to assess the short and long-term consequences of this dramatic policy shift. One of the most pressing challenges for the government will be the potential need to refund billions of dollars in tariffs to importers. This process is likely to create significant administrative hurdles, with agencies scrambling to process claims, verify documentation, and manage a surge in paperwork. Delays and confusion are almost inevitable as officials work to untangle the financial aftermath. For businesses, the removal of tariffs means a sudden drop in costs for imported goods. This could translate into lower prices for consumers at the checkout counter, increased competitiveness for American companies, and a boost in consumer confidence as goods become more affordable. However, the story isn't entirely positive. Many companies that previously shifted their supply chains to avoid tariffs now face the complex task of readjusting their operations. This could mean renegotiating contracts, rerouting shipments, and managing inventory disruptions, all of which can be costly and time-consuming. The transition period is expected to be bumpy, with some businesses struggling to adapt to the new rules. But over time, as companies settle into the new environment, supply chains and prices are likely to stabilize, restoring a sense of predictability to the market. Ultimately, this shift highlights just how complex and far-reaching the impact of trade policy changes can be, affecting everything from global shipping routes to the prices we pay at the store, and reminding us that economic decisions at the highest levels ripple through every layer of society. The removal of tariffs could ease inflation and lower prices for consumers, but the full effect depends on how quickly businesses adapt. The Supreme Court's decision will reshape global trade, especially with China. The tariffs were central to US-China tensions, and their removal could open the door to renewed cooperation. Businesses may reconsider supply chains, potentially increasing Chinese imports and shifting global trade flows. Companies that move production away from China to avoid tariffs might now return, impacting global supply chains. These changes will influence the movement of goods and capital worldwide. The ruling highlights how US trade policy decisions ripple across the global economy. For China, the decision is a chance to strengthen economic ties with the US and boost exports. However, broader geopolitical tensions, like those over technology, remain unresolved. The ruling sets a precedent for future trade negotiations, signaling more congressional involvement and stability. Other countries will need to engage with both Congress and the executive branch in US trade talks. The Supreme Court's decision has sparked intense political debate. Supporters say it restores constitutional checks and balances, while critics warn it could slow the US response to global economic challenges. Some fear the ruling may weaken America's negotiating position by making trade policy less flexible. Donald Trump has strongly criticized the ruling, arguing it undermines US leverage in trade talks and threatens American jobs. The debate over tariffs reflects deep divisions on how best to protect US industries and workers. The Supreme Court's decision will have real effects on prices and supply chains. Businesses can now source imports at lower costs, potentially passing savings to consumers. Companies that adapted to tariffs may face short-term disruptions as they reconfigure supply chains. In the long run, removing tariffs could lead to more efficient, cost-effective supply chains. The ruling is a defining moment for the judiciary's role in checking executive power. It will continue to shape debates on the future of US trade policy. The Supreme Court's decision is poised to send ripples through global supply chains, fundamentally altering how goods move across borders and how companies plan their operations. The impact will be felt not just by multinational corporations, but also by small businesses and workers, whose livelihoods depend on international trade. As the world becomes more interconnected, even a single policy shift can have far-reaching consequences, affecting competitiveness across regions and industries. In response, some companies may choose to return production to China or other countries with established manufacturing infrastructure, seeking to minimize costs and maintain efficiency. This could trigger a realignment of global trade dynamics as supply chains adapt to new rules and incentives. The decision may also prompt businesses to rethink their sourcing strategies, weighing the risks and benefits of different markets. The Supreme Court's ruling sets a powerful new precedent for presidential authority over tariffs, making it clear that significant trade actions require congressional approval. This marks a shift away from unilateral executive power, reinforcing the system of checks and balances at the heart of American democracy. With this change, the process of shaping trade policy could become more inclusive, drawing on input from a broader range of stakeholders. Business leaders, labor representatives, and policymakers will all have a greater voice, leading to more balanced and comprehensive trade policies that reflect the interests of many, not just a few. Future presidents will now need to work more closely with Congress when considering new trade measures. This collaboration is likely to result in policies that are not only more stable and predictable, but also more transparent and accountable to the public. For America's trading partners, the ruling signals a new era in which engaging with both the executive and legislative branches is essential for forging durable trade agreements. This dual-track diplomacy may require more negotiation, but it also promises greater certainty and longevity for international deals. The decision will play a crucial role in shaping the future of U.S. trade policy and its relationships with economies around the world. As global markets react, we may see shifts in investment, currency values, and economic alliances. As the U.S. navigates an increasingly complex and competitive global economy, the ruling highlights the importance of thoughtful, balanced trade policies that can adapt to changing circumstances and protect American interests. By restoring the constitutional balance of power, the decision encourages a more collaborative approach to trade, where lawmakers and the president must work together to find solutions that benefit the nation as a whole. Ultimately, this new balance of power stands to benefit not only businesses and consumers, but also the broader economy, fostering growth, stability, and prosperity for all Americans.